All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Yahweh Kodesh, the belongings to the elders and apostles of Great Stone, Shalom to the elect pushing this word in truth and in sincerity, with the hope of receiving mercy of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai is the name of His only begotten Son. You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites, according to the prophecies that are written in the scriptures. I want to make it known that the RFID microchip is the MOTB. The miracle drug is the precursor to the MOTB. Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignitely called Jesus, is about to make his return upon the earth to deliver his elect and to pour out judgment as it is written. So, I want to go straight into this lesson dealing with military spending around the world, because a lot of people are not fully aware of what's really going on. You know, everybody say them live their best life. I understand that the world that you're living in right now, within a couple of days, couple of months, it's going to be a total new, new world you're literally in, meaning by the way that it is governed. Because you have different scenarios right now playing out in the world, should I say. But this tension in various parts of the world is causing a lot of spending of countries' finances, because countries around the world are preparing for a worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is World War III. And what comes with World War III is famine and pestilence. So this is something that I look up on Google. In 2023, the top 10 military spending countries are the US, China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, UK, Germany, France, South Korea, Japan. In a world categorized by geopolitical tension, military spending plays a crucial role in safeguarding nation interests. And this is why I looked up this clip.
All right, well, remember last year when we warned you that we would get to a $1 trillion per year defense budget? We're creeping there. We, again, had another monumental jump in the proposed military defense budget. This was passed by the House of Representatives over the weekend, but this is a proposal. I think it's important to keep an eye on it because it's showing us where the wind blows and just how much it continues to deflate. Now, remember last year we were scandalized, I tell you, because the budget came in at $847 billion, and that was $45 billion more than the administration even asked for. They just magically said, no, take more, actually. So this new one, again, hasn't passed yet, and the Senate is working on its own version of this bill before some version of it does go to the president's desk to sign. Surely this is not the final version, but let's just look at where the wind is blowing and what Congress, and now this is not, Congress, they're elected representatives. They're supposed to do what they think the American people wants them to do. I don't know who's asking them to do this. I don't know why they think that this is, what they're elected to do, but these are the things they're doing. Before we do that, let's just look at this in global context. This data comes from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, but some nice user on Wikipedia laid it out in this graphic, and I appreciate it. I was able to look over these numbers just to see if this is just done by a kooky person on Wikipedia, and it seems to check out. Now, almost all of the world's military spending is from the West. Take a look at, since the 1950s, the dark blue is the U.S., the light blue is other NATO, although that is largely funded by the U.S.
Yeah, other right. NATO just means
so if US. You look at 2020, well, I would say 70% of this line on the 2020 axis is the U.S. And then China, which does seem to be expanding, but not at the same rate. We're going to look at that for a second. Russia, we tell you about all the time. We know what their military is capable of, but look at, they're capable of all of this on such a small budget. That's hard to understand. How are they withstanding this war on such a small budget? But we've talked about this before. And then other countries. Now, again, almost all of the world's spending is in the West, and most of it through the United States dollar. China this year approved a 7.2% defense budget. That put it at an increase to $224 billion. So again, we're talking about U.S. at $847 billion. For China, this is a big jump, but still just a quarter of where the United States is.
So this is, I want to say, Joel 3, verse 9. He said, proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles. So this is the word of Yahweh Shemi Shai, which is being declared amongst the Gentiles. You heathens, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And this is what Yahweh Shemi Shai is doing from the US to China to Russia, to those countries in Europe, those countries in the Middle East, those countries in so-called Africa, The Lord has stirred them up. The Lord have them think about what their defense is. Beat your plowshare into swords and your pruning hook into spears. And that's why majority of the spending is going towards their military. So a lot of budget is being cut. And a lot of money is put into the military. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourself and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourself together round about. Thither, cast thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathens round about. So, people don't understand why the Lord have made these nations prepare for the Third World War. Because this is the war to secular war. Because in the midst of that, Yahweh Shai is going to appear here. In the midst of when missiles are being shoot from all around the world, those that are capable of firing nuclear missiles, Yahweh Shai are going to appear to deliver his elect from out of America. And I'm going to send him angels together, his elect from around the four winds of the world. So right now the Lord I create a great battle to come. Because this is the war to end all wars. That's why I want to say Isaiah 34, verse 1, it reads, come near, ye nation, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations. Did you hear what the Lord said? His indignation is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He had utterly destroyed them. He had delivered them to the slaughter. And this is what Yahweh Shemi Shai is about to do to all these countries around the world. Deliver them to the slaughter. But Yahweh Shai is going to come to make war, as the scripture have said. And I'm going to take down all that is in authority, yo, believing that they're really ruling, not knowing that they're just puppet on the Lord's string. You know, the Lord that orchestrate the chessboard. That's why him said this in Matthew, to gather all nation. Let me get that also from Zephaniah 3 verse 8. It says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdom, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So these countries don't really understand, you know. So the Lord, I put it in all the minds of the leaders and those that are in any form of authority to develop various military apparatus. So you're going to see increase in military spending around the world. Because the Lord had said prepare war. So hope this is edifying that I want to say. Kalalal, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Raka Kodash. Shalom.